Hello, my name is Anne Russell. This is part 2 of the reading of my book, which I wrote the second edition in 2017. I wrote it because what I wanted to hear when I first found out about FASD was something or anything written by a birth mum. But unfortunately I couldn't find anything anywhere. Obviously we had the internet. I trolled everywhere. I tried to find something, but there was just nothing that was written. It was really difficult because I believed that at that time that no one else in Australia had been as unenlightened and as irresponsible as I had. No one else had physically harmed their children, and no one else had taken so long to grasp that their child had a serious and significant disability. It was just me. That's what I thought at the time. Okay. As the birth mother of 2 adult children with FASD, I've faced my share of powerful feelings. I've experienced grief for the loss of a normal life for my boys, fear for their future, and as a sober alcoholic, I questioned whether I can manage my own life well enough to help them through theirs. I remember that awful feeling when I first became aware of FASD, an appalling, relentless sorrow that I'd hurt my babies, innocents who depended on me, their mother, to keep them safe. I had wanted to help make the world a better place, to save a life, and instead I drank half my life away. And when I did get my life's wish, the chance to help others, it was because I had first injured my own children. Excuse me. I made others' lives more difficult, and to me that's unforgivable. It was just how I was brought up. Through the years, one of the many things I badly wanted to change was Seth's own perception of his life. While his classic FASD trajectory has been so very difficult for him, there have been many times when his life has been full and happy. Regrettably, he seems to have a prohibition against acknowledging happiness. He takes somewhat typical life experiences and threads them like little millstones around his neck. He knows every one of them intimately, and when things are going well, he picks one out, dusts it off, and gets caught up in the injustice and injury he felt at the time. He appears unable to reinterpret these life lessons constructively. I know this is a reflection of his disability and not his preference, but I long to change his perception so that he sees his life, if not happy, then at least tolerable. Instead of the grinding, aching ordeal he says he lives. He's over 30 now and his innocence is gone, swept away in his early teens. He no longer has dreams for himself outside of the drugs that he used that dull his senses. The excitement I used to see in his eyes when he was very young has been replaced by frustration and a dull, low-level anger which needs only a light poke to ignite. As I write this in early 2015, he's a stranger to us and we are no longer allowed or able to help him unless it's by giving him money. This has been the pattern of our lives for almost 20 years. When I first saw the words fetal alcohol syndrome, I wondered if I could deny that Seth had this condition. If alcoholism is the only disease that tells you that you don't have a disease, then as an alcoholic, like many before and after, perhaps I could tell myself that Seth didn't have FASD. Thankfully, the thought matured. If I was going to cope with this, I'd do it on my own terms. I would acknowledge responsibility and contend with it that way or not at all. I would not deny it or rationalise it or attribute it to the symptoms of ADHD, mental illness, autism or drug psychosis. This was my responsibility and I would actively work with Seth and Mick so they could be the best they could be. At times Seth has been the best and he has been happy. He's had happy experiences, sometimes for weeks at a time, although he probably would deny it. Unfortunately, any positive, happy or joyous occasions have not been sustainable. Clearly now, Seth's immediate future isn't bright, and although I hesitate to say that it's a fait accompli, there's nothing in the past which would cause me to expect that things are going to be different. At this time in his life, his misfiring synapses and damaged neurons have created a pathway for him which with considerably more speed bumps than the average person. On the other hand, while Mick must manage epilepsy, migraines, short stature and a sunken chest, he doesn't have the behavioural problems that plague Seth. He's got a positive outlook, and if he does have little millstones around his neck, he's either hidden them well or forgotten about them completely. It is possible there are IQ points that he doesn't have, as it was always clear he would be working in semi-skilled jobs rather than taking the academic route and going to university. As a result, he has missed opportunities for education that could have given him many rich financial and personal rewards. Nevertheless, he's worked hard and is now earning good money as an operator in the mines, and I believe he has his rich and financial and personal rewards. When he was young, he saved a dog from drowning or being sucked through a storm drain. At 26, he saved several people from drowning in Bali. At 34, he has again chosen to risk his life as a member of the mine's rescue team. On the whole, he appears to have everything he needs and wants. Most encouraging of all, he says he's happy, and in fact, he doesn't think he's ever been unhappy. Mick has always been an example of FASD success and illustrates that part of the spectrum about which we rarely hear. Whether it was genetics or accident, I'm grateful that he's grown up to be one of the most considerate, content and respectful people I know. He's a wonderful example to all parents who may fear for the future of their child after a positive diagnosis. Even though many people, including myself, report that FASD is linked to a challenging life, there are always exceptions to the rule. Mick and Seth were conceived to be individuals with hopes and dreams and the potential for good. They were cherished with a love so pure it was, like infinity, almost impossible for me to comprehend. I thought my love for them was the most, the best, the purest love possible from a mother, until I realised that that was what being a mother was like, and I was no different to anyone else. In the early days, reading about FASD and the potential problems our family might be required to face was daunting. The pathway down which countless families travel can be harsh and unforgiving. Knowing that some have met these challenges head on and their children eventually able to live happy and productive lives gives us all hope. A woman does not set out to harm her unborn child. If it occurs, the reasons are multifaceted and complex. When doctors do not fully inform pregnant women about the dangers of alcohol and pregnancy, they're effectively sacrificing the child's health and well-being for the sake of the mother's stress and anxiety levels. There is no way the stress and anxiety can be avoided, but there is a way that the child's health and well-being can be improved. The sooner a pregnant woman stops drinking, the healthier her baby will be. And if your doctor talks to you truthfully and honestly about FASD, then the sooner your child can have the supports that he or she needs. I frequently wonder how different Seth's life could have been had Mick been diagnosed with FASD in 1981, when the paediatrician thought he showed signs of retardation. What would Seth be like now if that had happened? If only I could take just one glimpse of him without FAS. I dream, though, and I have dreamed of him in a responsible but enjoyable job, respected by colleagues and friends, loved by his wife, treasured by his children, and most importantly, proud of himself and his achievements, and happy, always happy. Then in my dream I go back to his times at university, having fun but also studying, exercising, helping others, achieving his goals. In my dreams, he is a good man, a thoughtful and helpful friend, an active yet perceptive sounding board, a man with a handsome face and full lips, not the thin lips of FAS. Sometimes I close my eyes just so I can imagine this reality. I've lived it so often, sometimes I'm taken aback by the reality. If I could only make an exchange, if the universe accepted them, my own life would be the most effortless trade imaginable. The reality is, although he has many hurdles to life, Seth is a good man. That's never been in doubt. Mick and Seth are both good people. I think I have felt every emotion of which a human being is capable, and I'm grateful. The lows make the highs higher. Without the grief and anxiety, the times of contentment would not be as significant. I have learned so much over the years about myself, about FASD, and about other people. My experience with FAS tells me that when your affected child yells at you, it's through frustration and being overwhelmed with too many choices or problems, even though there are choices that are very easily made by you or me. They need you to know that when they persist about something, it's because they cannot change their mind, not because they choose not to. They want you to be there for them regardless of how much they annoy you, or how often you have to bail them out of some crisis in which they have become unintentionally involved. They also need you to help them obtain medication and other items and services that will improve their quality of life. Above all, they need you to keep coming back to them no matter how many times they tell you to leave them alone. Then again, if they show behaviours that are dangerous to themselves or others, that's when they need you to be particularly strong. You must do whatever you must to ensure the safety, health, and well-being of everyone, including yourself. Not being able to cope with your child is not an indictment of your ability as a parent or your love for your child. It's a matter of survival, because occasionally the damage is so severe that there's very little help outside of an institution. Now and then, no matter what you do or how many services you access, nothing will stop them from destroying themselves. Thank you. If this or anything else on our channel brings up anything for you about your family or your experiences while pregnant, please contact the Russell Family Fetal Alcohol Disorders Association. And I will have another video, another chapter for you next week. Thank you.